I just realized I can listen to music and record a video all the while. Now I'm listening to Django from the movie Django. And the song is a little bit pathetic and ridiculous. Alright. And it's distracting me. Because I want to speak about Anima projection. And this has nothing to do with Django or Brunhilda. Does it? Alright. Now, when we're young, men and women, let me talk about men. Because I not even gonna say it. I'm identify as a man. Man, what? Anyway, when we grow up, when we go through our physical development, we're naive. We don't get initiation rites like in ancient cultures there was initiation rites. Today we have military in some countries, or we have military that kind of, for some people, can be a substitute for initiation. I mean, if you think about ancient Sparta, I think boys would not have the problem to lack a form of initiation, for they were initiated, yes. But of course also in tribal cultures until this day there is initiation rites for men, also for women. But they're different. They are different for men and women. Can you please export our identity politics into the tribes that still exist in Africa and South America, to tell them that women should have the same initiation as men and men the same as women? Please, can you please do this? Anyway, now let's talk about anima projection in men. Okay, let's stay on topic. You know, yeah, when we grow up, when we're in our adolescent phase, many things are very feverish and intense experiences, for we just rush in. You know, Elvis Presley was the voice of of this powerful energy of the youth. So, you know, only fools rush in is what he sings when he's older and he learned it, but when you're young you rush in. And you might be just crying like a hound dog, crying all the time. And this is because you're in love with the projection of the anima. You're an immature masculine individual who has not integrated his anima, but is controlled by it in an externalized version that you project on each and every woman that you see, and you just try to find this fantasy of you in a woman. This has a lot of autoerotic qualities because you're in love with your fantasy and you want to find in the world your fantasy that then satisfies this desire that is part of the fantasy, which is a conundrum. Is it a conundrum or a paradoxum? I don't know. Anyway, it can't work. It's a contradiction. It's narcissistic, actually. Your anima is narcissistic. Of course, if you're a woman watching, this can help you to understand men, but you can also translate this for you in a way that you say, I don't know, maybe women can also be obsessed by animus projection. I don't know. Um, so yeah, it has a feverish quality, and some individuals who are artistic, often artistic, like dancers, poets, musicians, all kinds of artists, um, people who are introverted, some are introverted, but remember, every introverted person has also an extrovert trait, every extroverted person has an introvert trait. Um, they they might not even want to find this fantasy of theirs or projection, or they want to find it but not to own it, but they also experience just the tension between them, and lack the decisiveness. So they are aware and open, they are searching, they are possessed by it, obsessed, but they are not decisive to really choose. This is also maybe a form of people pleasing, because they also don't want to offend anyone by choosing and deciding for one thing. They don't want to limit themselves. Therefore, they enjoy this feverish state of being in unfulfilled love. And a lot of artists kind of exploit this to have huge amounts of creative inspiration, which shows how the life drive that was discovered, I always repeat this, by Sabina Spielrein, not by Sigmund Freud. Um, the life drive, libido, is translated into art when a feverish young individual is in love with a person but is not decisive or realistic, but carried away by this fantasy projection. Now, what these individuals have to do is to become decisive, to become centered, self-centered, and to work with the archetype of the anima and the animus, and realize that first they have to integrate it in their own personality, whatever that means, um, to not have the need to project this fantasy on others, because they are unable to interact with the real person in front of them, with the individual. They're unable to individually react to individual signals. They are blind for reality, for they are blinded by their own fantasy. I got some advices from Marie-Louise von Franz as well as Maharishika. These are two strong feminine individuals. And Maharishika said to a young man, or no, to a man, that to do this, a man has to surrender to this anima, meaning you can bow down to a cow or to any feminine representation in your life, but what you really do is you do it to your inner anima figure, projection, this externalized part of you that is obsessing you. You surrender to it. By the way, she also said that women can curse men. This means when you first surrender to an anima, to a real woman, but then you reject her or abandon her, they can get furious to a degree that they want to swallow the whole world with you, even traumatizing their own children, forgetting about their own children, the fruits of the relationship that is supposed to be based on love, and the same love and care should the children experience, but a woman that is rejected forgets everything. This means we have to be careful with whom we choose, especially if we are attractive and beautiful, because this will attract evil, as Maharishika said, and Maharishika said, and therefore it is very important to integrate Anima so that this does not happen again. Yeah, so, and Marie-Louise von France said something. Yeah, she said, by the way, that the Christian religion neglected the feminine archetype. It only represents in the Catholicistic side, or in the Orthodox side, I don't know, Maria Magdalene, and she is just a purified feminine, but it does not show the shadow feminine. And she said that therefore alchemy is a way to accomplish this, or to complete the Christian belief, because a feminine individual that does not know how to integrate this is obviously controlled by it, is living this shadow side. And also can start to behave in masculine ways as a compensation for this, in a lack of spiritual guidance, so to speak. So I find this very interesting when we look about discussions today. I feel like there's also a huge division and misunderstanding. It's almost impossible to speak about the topics of sexism, also racism is the same, because of these disturbances and misunderstandings, that it's an inner thing to solve first. Yeah, I find it very interesting, by the way. Maharishika also said that only very evolved and far developed, ascended, I don't know, individuals can overcome racism and sexism. And this supports, I felt narcissistically inflated, because I told you that I wish that people could understand that I don't see the categories of black and white in as identities that are that I would like force on others. So I won't force anyone to accept me as the identity I choose. But yeah, this is a very complicated topic. I just want to identify as that. Nobody has to, I just want to identify as what I want to identify. But I know that I can't force others to accept this. But I have another theory that who excludes others is not belonging, it's not really belonging to a healthy, functioning in-group. And this is a difficult topic that is hard to solve, and I can't do this in this video. But I felt like, okay, maybe the reason why I don't think in these categories, or I don't want it to think in these categories, is not just immature, but maybe the same as mature, because sometimes this is where the circle closes. So you can say it's immature to believe that black and white does not exist. So you look at an individual based on the individual, not on the skin color or ethnic belonging or place of birth. But at the same time, it's a mature way to see it. Once you go through the whole cycle of where the whole confusion about this has begun, you come to the same conclusion again, that this does not matter. Okay, but it's beyond understanding for a lot of people. Anyway, I hope I could inspire some people with what I said. I think I create more question marks than exclamation marks, I don't give clear concepts and answers, but this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to start a thinking process about this topic, especially anima projection. Thank you for listening. See you in the next video. By the way, I just continue listening to Django, and it reminded me of Brunhilda. Brunhilda, who is a black anima. And Marie-Louise von France said that the black anima is a motive out of alchemy, and it shows maybe the shadow anima, the projected, not integrated, not purified anima. And in alchemy, when they want to make gold, they also begin with the color black, I think. So black can transform into gold, and in the alchemical sense, the black anima projection is something that struck me very much, because I think that refers to me personally very much, something that I was like feverishly possessed by. Maybe I was possessed by a narcissistic black anima. That's a mouthful. I call her Brunhilda. Maybe the motive of Django is about this. But in the alchemical tradition, there is a Marie-Louise von France video on YouTube about this. This anima is transmuted into a white anima, which has to do with anima integration and the purification of this model. And this struck me very much, because suddenly a lot of things made sense in my life, and I understood that I had this feverish thing that was ruling my life for a long time. But I want you also to understand that this is the content of life. This is life. What is this? So this is the content of life. That's what we experience based on our projections. So we're not here to be perfectly integrated people who have all our shadow, all our fragmented parts of personality integrated, control over all our compulsions and desires. That's not the goal. This would be a perfect being, and we're not that. Our life revolves around our shadow as well, our weaknesses and strengths. And I don't think in weaknesses and strengths, but in shape. We have a shape, a unique shape. You see this bird? It's a unique build, okay? And we just have to become more and more aware of our shape and our build, which is also a form of integration. And that being said, I just wanted to add this. See you in the next video now. Let me finish the song now, that is really pathetic and a little bit ridiculous. Django Unchained. Sorry for the fractured version of this video. I have to add one more thing. It's a difficult topic and I'm not making scripts. Now, important thoughts came up. What I mean when I say that a man must surrender to the unintegrated projected anima inside himself first, it does not mean this narcissistic acting out of bowing down and submitting to an idealized feminine person. This would be exactly the opposite. This would mean to feeding the feverish fantasy, feasting of autoerotic splitting, let me call it splitting, because if a relationship is built on that, each partner will idealize the other one and potentially submit in a theater like dramatic way, vice versa, to feed this fantasy projection. So it's a feasting on fantasy projection, which is basically narcissism. So it means it's something very intimate with yourself. It means to respect, when you eat butter, respect the animal that gave you that butter, the milk. To see the feminine archetype in nature everywhere, the surrounding, nourishing, the prima causa, the first thing that has to be there, the frame, to see it everywhere, in the stars, in mythology, in nature, and to have this peace in yourself, this nourishment in yourself, not look for it as a lack in the world that you need to fulfill with a desire. That would be the narcissistic way. No, you get to know yourself through studying it in the world, and you're assured that it is all within you. All right? And then you start to stop projecting it and see people, human beings, and everything as what it is, not from the scarcity mindset, from the feeling of you lack this and you need to conquer it. All of this leads to false masculinity and false femininity, inverted understandings, confusion, extreme displays of something that is definitely not the divine feminine or divine masculine. The divine masculine shows when you surrender to your own anima projection. This is what then naturally shows effortlessly. I think we're done now. I'm not going to listen to Django anymore.